The object of this video is to show the Republican candidates versus President Obama in their bid to become the President of the United States in year 2012 through the eyes of the Bible codes. The presentation addresses the United States of America on August 30th, 2012. Annex A discusses in great detail the headings of the tables used to present the findings. The headings basically are the term, translation from Hebrew to English, the skip or the constant spacings between letters, the smaller the skip the better, the R factor in the matrix, the higher it is above 1.3, the more statistically significant the term is. All the terms are found in the book of Numbers, and in the start and end we indicate where does each term begins in the Bible and where it ends. The term from America spans most of the matrix from approximately chapter 19 verse 14 till approximately chapter 22 verse 3. The Republicans and the Democrats live in the land of the free in a democratic society. On August the 30th, the term says, United States, the nation of all, is in a pleasant dance, and a desire it will raise, all. Everyone will be happy after the convention on August the 30th. Everyone from America will have a desire, expectation for a better and brighter future. If at any time during the video you would like to spend more time reading the text, you may pause the video and do so. The date of the Republican Convention is on the 30th of August, and this is where we have in Hebrew the Yud Bet Be'elul. The reason we focus on the 30th of August in the United States of America, it is because it is a convention of the party of the Republicans. We find the term convention in the matrix, and it even defines what it is, and seeks or explores a convention. We know it is a convention to find a new leader. Where will the delegates come from? They'll come from the party that its symbol is the elephant, from the sign of an elephant. Below is a reference from the Bible that the word ought or sign can be spelled also without the letter Vav. Let's look at two terms, one we've seen before, one we will see later, longer and in more detail. This term here, the red one, says an advancing hill their president. The one they will elect for president will overshadow the others like a hill over the meadows. The next term is from a sign of elephants. Elephant is the sign of the Republican Party. Looking at the elephant term a little bit different, from a sign of an elephant, who? And the matrix answer it, their president. The matrix will now introduce and say something about each and every one of the Republican candidates. Although the polls before the primaries indicated that Newt Gingrich was strong, the first term indicates that Newt became weak. The second term emphasizes Newt's weakness. Newt? Whoa! Some may argue that the term Newt will beat them indicates that he will win the primaries. On the other hand, beat refers also to the beating that he has taken from his other candidates, and he is quite capable to beat back also, as we shall see. One cannot argue that Newt did not express sadness during the primaries. Sadness because of the accusation that were made, the verbally beating that he has taken. Upon reading the notes below, one can appreciate that the beating them and the sadness are interrelated, and also beating them by winning the election does not come with sadness. The sadness is the verbal beating that one has received, and even the one that was lashed out, it was never done with gladness. The terms for Ron Paul are not very encouraging. Ron Paul, I shall drive away, hesitate, or slightly different, again I shall drive away Ron Paul. The last term, and asleep Ron Paul, is not much better either. The first term for Rick Santorum seems somewhat positive. It indicates that at least Rick will be in the primaries until the very end, something not all people had thought will happen. On the other hand, it looks even worse for him when we look at it differently, where it says that S. Rick was besieged here. The last term does not mean much to me. It says Rick S. like an artist, or we can play on the religious aspect and say Rick S. like a man. The two Romney's terms have the same identical letters, but there is slight emphasis. In the first term, the emphasis is on a nation. In the second term, the emphasis is on his nation. In the first term, it says, Romney, wait, let there be a nation for him, an amount to advance their president. On August the 30th, everyone is anticipating that Romney will win the nomination for the Republican convention. On the same August the 30th, now that Romney has won the nomination for the Republican Party, the anticipation now is that Romney, wait, let there be for him his nation amount to advance their president. Now the anticipation is going to win the presidency of the United States. The term let there be is very suggestive of Genesis in the beginning, where it is said, let there be light, a divine decree. The term as a whole is very suggestive of actually eventually winning the presidency in November, because the term starts with Romney, wait, let there be after August the 30th, their president. If we look at the term Romney, we see it intersects the term elect. Let's look now at the full two terms, Romney and the elect term. The full term starts with elect, him or Romney, said, the master of the universe, wait, let there be for him his nation. We've just seen the long Romney term that seemed to be divine decree, let there be. The elect term also seemed divine. Elect him, Romney, said the master of the universe. And here, for the third time, we have what seems to be a divine term. Elect Romney. I have a president for me. Here is the beginning. Elect Romney. I have a president for me. For greater emphasis, we have three divine statements, two of them symmetrical about the Romney term. We also have here two president term, the Romney long term and the bottom green term. Both have prominent president words in them, and the blue above the elect term it says elect him. Elect obviously for president. Very powerful presentation. At the bottom of this matrix, we just saw the term at a skip of 3. I have a president for me. Written over it in the same line, we have one more decree by the Master of the Universe. Let there be a present, one ordained, my messenger, the Master of the Universe is saying. God's minister, my messenger, the Master of the Universe repeats. You can make up your own mind as to whether those president terms relate to the selection of the Republican Party or whether it is an eventual indication who is going to be the President of the USA by the end of year 2012. At any rate, we know that this indicates that it's all about the presidency of the United States. The matrix has presented us with several terms suggesting that by August 30th, Obama will have a reason to be concerned about his chances. The next term in the matrix will say it outright. As a matter of fact, the matrix does suggest it. We have another term with a double meaning, and it does say, and Obama shall be afraid. The term shall be afraid can also be read in Hebrew, he shall see, or he saw. And obviously that is going to be truth, we know, because he cannot afford not to follow what is happening. Let us now look at the 5 candidates that withdrew from the race before the primaries at Iowa began, and those that dropped out in January. One of the first candidates to withdraw from the race admits that he's made a mistake. He was fooled by a song and a dance. The term says, Jonathan, whoa, they sang and I made a mistake. Typically, it is difficult to find even one name in a matrix. Here we have both the first and last name. Under the last name, the term says, what happened with Shak and what will be bad. Obviously, the matrix did not favor that he will win the nomination. Only the first name of Mr. McCotter was found in the matrix, but the message is loud and clear. Thaddeus, woe and bitter. The matrix has a similar message for Gary Johnson. Only woe, Gary's candle. I assume Gary's torch did not spark a huge flame. It settled only as a small candle. Before Herman Cain withdrew from the race on December 3rd, he was a leading candidate. Unfortunately, accusations were made against him, and even if he was innocent, it would have taken much too long to prove it, and the race for him was lost. Therefore, Herman was afraid of those accusations made against him. he was afraid to be put on stage in the media. The matrix portrays it exactly as it is. The term says, Herman was afraid of a stage. The matrix continues to explain to Herman what is happening. Whoa, where to, Herman? Obviously exit. In other words, it's also saying, Herman, obviously exit. Worn out, he will take whaling. For Tim Pawlenty, we have several terms. First, with his first name and the first letter of his last name, we find two terms. The first, Tim P, a curse, and the second term, Tim P, dripping or trickling. In other words, it wasn't flowing for him very well. Using only the first name, we get three messages. Tim rescue despised. Next. Whoa, hey Tim. Finally, go to him appeal, or to you Tim, they or it appealed. It the idea of becoming a winning contender. The first candidate that was stopped after the primaries began was Michelle Bachmann. The first term with her first name states, Whoa, Michelle. And the second term with the last name states, Bachmann and was stopped. John Huntsman was the second candidate to withdraw in January. The codes are obviously right with the statement, John was defeated. Sometime before the primaries began, Rick Perry was doing very well at the polls. Later on, when the primaries started, as the codes indicate, Rick Perry moved like a turtle. As the notes below suggest, the term Rick P should not really be considered because of the negative R value in the matrix. Also, the skip at -94 is by far less significant than a skip at -9 for the first term. In order to appreciate the significance of the presentation, we must understand how difficult it is to fix the result of such a search. In order to do that, we must appreciate that the methodology used in this presentation was used by the author in many cases. Some of the special features in this video are that all the candidates appear, proper name spelling, strict criteria to eliminate biased name selection. Each candidate is labeled as a loser or a winner. Only one winner is selected. There are stunning accurate descriptions of candidates such as Herman who was afraid of a stage, fitting terms together such as United States and a nation, confirming the messages by repeating twice or three times the same message, always using biblical principles such as a conclusion has to be based upon at least 2 or 3 witnesses. For more codes on Mitt Romney, please watch my next YouTube video titled Mitt, USA Election for a President 2012. Please pause this video to see the definition of each of the terms above in this table. Thank you.